In this activity, you'll set up your Kali and Metasploitable virtual machines to be on the same NAT network. Once both virtual machines are started, you'll need to determine the IP address of the Kali VM. This is going to give you the base information to start your testing. Just a note, from now on, all the commands that we'll be running are going to be just done on the Kali virtual machine. To identify the IP address of my Kali machine, we'll just use IPA. We come down, we look for Ether 0 down to INET. When we look here, we can see that it's 10.0.2.9 with a subnet mask of /24. So this is going to tell me that my IP address for my Kali machine is 10.0.2.9 and the network that I'm on is on the 10.0.2.0 network. That will mean that my target will also be on the 10.0.2.0 network. So now we need to find the target. To find the target, we're just going to use a simple Nmap scan. We know that the target is going to be running a web server. That web server will run on port 80. So we'll just do a simple scan to look for an IP address with port 80 open. We also know from this setup that we have less than 10 machines or less than 20 machines on our network. So we're going to do the scan to be within a range of 1 to 20. So we're going to use sudo, which is similar to run as in Windows. So we'll do sudo nmap-s for scan type, and we're doing a syn scan. We're going to do a -p because we're only looking for a particular port, and we're going to look for port 80, and the range we're going to use is the 10.0.2.1 through to 20. It's now asking for our password, and you'll now see my super secret password. Don't worry, I don't use it anywhere else. There we have our report coming out, our Nmap report, and we can come down, we just look down at the port state, and we're looking for a state of open. And here we can see that 10.0.2.8 has a port 80 with the state of open. By looking at this, I can be fairly confident that 10.0.2.8 is the target that we want. So now that we have identified our target, let's set Nikto in motion. First, let's have a look at some of the options that we have with Nikto. So we'll just type in the command Nikto, and we'll do a -h. This gives us some of the basic options that we can use with Nikto. And for today, the two that we're going to be looking at for this activity, we're going to be looking at format, and we're going to use output. We could also use the long version of the help, and it gives us a bit more information in the output. So that would be Nikto dash with a capital H or uppercase H. And that gives us quite a bit more information. Part of the information that it's going to give us that we want to know about is with the format option, and it allows us to see the different formats that we can output our report to. In this activity, we're going to use HTML. It gives us HTML format. Nikto requires root privileges to run, so we need to use sudo. So we need to use the -host option. Nikto also needs to know the protocol being used. In our case, we're using HTTP. And our target is 10.0.2.8. But we want to be specific in the web application that we're scanning. So we're going to scan Matilda. we're going to format the output as HTML, and we'll use the -O for output, and we're going to output this to $PWD The $PWD says we want to put this report, we want to out this report to the current working directory, and we're going to call, I'm going to call this Nikto scan. Actually, I'll change that slightly. 2020 0812 underscore Nikto scan dot HTML. I'll run this scan, and as you can see, it's already picking up some of the vulnerabilities. And once we get our report, what we would do is we would look through the report and start researching on each of these vulnerabilities. Now that the report is finished, well, the scan is finished, I'm just going to clear my screen. I'll do an ls-l, and we can see that we have the Nikto scan HTML. So let's just open up a file, file manager, and let's open up this Nikto scan, and we can see our report, and we can go through this at our leisure.